That was good. No, it's perfect. It looks good.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah. That was a good touch.
I'd like to see it.
Here,
Oh.
I'm gonna
I haven't even been in the sun.
12:15 World Sexiest Man Competition. There's
What? What floor?
It's Aqua Theater.
Are you ready to go?
Ready? Everybody ready?
All right. All right. Here we go. Welcome to a special edition of Nail Talk Radio. We are coming to you live from the Oasis of the Seas on the Nail Those Profits cruise that Vicki Peters has started. So we're really excited to be here. My name is AthenA, Elliott, and I am your host of Nail Talk Radio.
Hi everybody, my name is Brandy, and welcome to the first real day of Those Profits at Seas. We've got 20 texts from around the world, and we're here for a week of sun, fun, and hopefully lots of education. We've already had a great presentation from Alex Fox, who is to my left or right, I guess. If you're
All right. Absolutely, it was outstanding. And you know, we also have Jess from Accent right here. Holly Schippers, the fingernail fixer. We have business building with Brandy and Karen over here. And of course, myself with LCN Barefoot.
All right, guys. The next 90 minutes of our show are going to be informal, educational as well. And I think it's time to get some questions. The first question we want to ask the panel is, where do you think the industry is going? Where do you think what do you think we're doing well, and what do you think we're not doing so well? Who wants to go first?
I'll take that.
Karen?
Hi, I think that the industry is in an evolution. I think the big, long, square acrylic nails that we all loved and did in the 80s and the 90s were completely revolutionized about 5 years ago whenever we went to UV gel polishes. And people who are not embracing gel services in their salon, I feel, are going to be lagging behind the demand. Women want nails that look good and last, a good long time. That was the whole reason of artificial nail enhancements in the first place. If they can get them quicker and easier, then they're going to want to do that. So I see that women, particularly, we can't totally discount men. We still have men coming in for services in the salon, but I feel that our driving market are women, and I feel that you really need to be embracing gel technology in your salons.
Slow down.
nice, Alex. I agree. Also, I think we are going to have to go above and beyond just the basics. I think the industry is headed towards a really more medical type of cleanliness, just to establish the reputation of being a clean salon. It's not enough anymore to do good enough. We need to go above and beyond what the state sets forth, because if the state doesn't give us good education, why do we want to follow their lackluster sanitation? So I think that we are definitely headed towards a cleaner salon environment, and hopefully that helps elevate the opinion of the industry along with it.
Yeah.
Well, that was powerful.
Anybody else like to chime in on what we're doing well and what we're not doing well?
I think education has been a problem for a long time, and I think with the new kinds of websites that are coming out with the online education, I think that's something that we're definitely doing well, and I think it's going to expand over the next 5 years. I think there's going to be a lot more education available through the internet and webinars and things like that, as well as retreats and networking events. I think the industry is doing really well as far as promoting and getting more networking events. Yours in Texas is coming up. Jill's in the Smokies and the retreat, I think they're all really, really great events, and I think they're getting bigger, and every year a lot of them are selling out, and then we end up with more people than we expected. So I think education is definitely one of those things that we haven't been doing well, but I think it's getting a lot better.
I definitely agree with what's been said here already, and I just want to add that, education, to get your education, it's about improving what you're doing. It's about investing in yourself, and I think that it's so important to get that education, if it's on the internet or you go to a local show or you even, plan out a year in advance to get yourself somewhere that is offering classes. You need to do it because the best investment is in oneself, and you cannot expect to claim a higher price or stand out from the many salons around you without it. And the networking events, from what I understand through many of the manufacturers, is really the trend here. Is the small, tight, the grassroots type of education. And I say get to one of those because they really are one-on-one. All right, so we have. Oh, you want to definitely let's pass it on down.
I just wanted to make a small point there because we all know that education is the key to the growth of our industry and the success of our industry and success of our businesses. And what I notice is that when you meet nail techs coming into our industry, they are thirsty and excited, and they're the people I don't feel so much we have to worry about because they want the knowledge, they want the education, and they're coming into an industry that we've established over the last 35 years through the help of people like Vicki Peters and everything she's done, and many of the people around this table. So we've got a beautiful established and growth industry with education the key. Sometimes I'm more concerned about the people that have been in the industry for many, many years who feel that they don't need the education anymore because they trained so long ago. And I feel very strongly that because our industry is so innovative, we have new products all the time, so much is changing and our trends are changing so rapidly that without networking, workshops and education, then some people can get left behind. And they're the people I think we need to be prodding and poking and getting excited.
Yeah, well said.
Absolutely, very well said. Now we have a list of questions that have been submitted to us through Nail Talk Radio. These are actual questions from real nail technicians just like yourselves. Our first question is kind of a hot button issue in our industry right now. It's something that a lot of people could go either way about, so I just want to hear what everybody thinks. This question is as follows, and they're all anonymous as well. Just started working in a new salon, and the owner does not want me wearing gloves during a pedicure. How do you handle that? Now, I know AthenA will be the first to say that she is a strong proponent of gloves, so I think we should hear from her first, and we can go from there. Nobody's right or wrong. These are all just your personal opinions.
Well, many of you know that I'm a big advocate for personal protection equipment for every service, not just for pedicures. And what I want to say is that this question is dealing with a salon owner who does not want the technician to wear gloves in her pedicure service. The first thing that I would do is have a conversation with this technician and how you approach the owner has everything to do with it. You can't just go, I have to wear gloves because that's what I've learned. Being able to get the owner to understand the reasons why, I think, play a huge part in winning them over. And I know that Karen probably has a lot to add to this as well.
Well, this comes up often, not just in the nail industry, but I do a lot of educating in aesthetics as well. And there's a big movement about not wearing gloves during facials. Those same arguments actually can be applied to nail technology, and that is the only objections ever made to wearing gloves are by anybody except the client. Clients never object.
I agree.
It's always the owner who feels that the skin must be touched, or it's always the nail tech who doesn't like to wear the uncomfortable gloves. It's never the clients. Clients don't mind at all. And if your owner, I would say to this tech, needs a little information, tell her a couple of things that just to keep in mind. Number one is, whenever you have gloves on the skin with an emollient, you reduce drag and push. Those are the movements, the mechanical actions against the skin, especially the elderly who have friable skin. They cannot have that texture, that abrasion on their skin that the fingerprints on the fingers actually cause when a glove won't. Another thing to keep in mind is your product costs will be drastically reduced. And okay, that's kind of a commercial reason, but it is a valid reason nonetheless. You're going to use 2 pumps of lotion on applying legs because your hands are going to be the most wonderfully softened and moistened hands.
Can't even put a Gatorade bottle.
But if you wore gloves, it would be one pump of lotion, and you would have all that you needed for the entire massage and the slit, because the moisture is going into the skin of the client, not into your hands. Two small little reasons that maybe an owner could hear, and so tell your owner, I would say to this tech, I'm doing it for the benefit of the clients, and also it's going to reduce product costs. Not to mention, all of us here know that the whole reason that you want PPEs is because of the transference of the new and evolving superbugs that we have out there. Has anyone heard of MRSA being transmitted in a salon?
Yeah.
Absolutely, we all have. Has anyone heard about Hep B existing in the environment for months and then cropping up? Absolutely, we all have. So we have to take care of our staff. We have to take care of our clients. So gotta wear gloves.
And it needs to be for every service all the time, not just for the ones you think that have jacked up feet. Anybody else like to say anything?
I will come in at a different angle from what they said, simply because initially, especially when AthenA was talking about the Safe Salon program, I'm thinking, oh, if I want to get a good rating, I have to use those stupid gloves. I hate gloves. Because I'm a sweater. I have PCOS, and so my hands are always really hot and sweaty, and the gloves make that worse. And I decided, I took the advanced nail tech program, and it's like you can't really call yourself an advanced nail tech if you're not doing everything within the program. I have a weird ethical thing about stuff like that. So I got the gloves. I Facebooked my clients. I'm like, is everyone okay if I wear gloves? It's a part of a course that I did. And they're like, oh yeah, as long as you don't quit and stop doing nails, we don't care what you wear. You can come to work naked. I love them enough not to come to work naked. However, I have started wearing the gloves. And while it is uncomfortable, I do not enjoy it. It does make me feel like I'm offering the next level of service while I'm doing it. So I think in addition to the practical things like the ROI, return on investment, you could also maybe show some pictures from the advanced nail tech program that you've taken. You could also come at it from the standpoint of it's protecting me, it's protecting you, it helps avoid a lawsuit. It's something that I'm willing to do for you as an owner to protect you. So kind of tag the emotion a little bit, because as soon as you drop the lawsuit word, they start to pay a little more attention, hopefully. So maybe come at it from a different angle. It's not something I enjoy. However, I'm willing to do that to help better your salon image.
There you go. I have a solution for you this way.
Okay.
And the last thing I want to say is that you can always default to, I'm developing an allergic reaction to the products. I can't let anything touch me. If you have to use that as the heavy, then do it, because really gloves are a barrier and for protecting your skin from the chemicals that we use, because so often we use them not like we're supposed to use them. All right.
All right. Now the next question comes from a tech who is looking for a brand new job. She says that she had just applied at a day spa and they only offered her 40% commission. Do we all feel that's a good deal for the tech? I'm going to pass this off to Brandy, and I know that she deals with the situation.
As a salon owner myself, I find that there's lots of actually different ways you can go about paying. I do an hourly and a commission, a straight commission, and hopefully chair rental at some point when the techs are busy enough. I think that it depends on what you're bringing into the salon. If you don't have any clients at all, you're not really offering the salon anything. They're going to be bringing you that clientele, so really 40% is quite good. It just depends on what you have to offer, your experience, your education. All of those things are come into play, and the more things that you have to offer the salon that you're going to, the more money you're going to be able to get and to make.
I'd like to talk about that. Some of you all know that I have a background in business and finance. I was a corporate controller for 20 years. So from an accounting point of view, 40% is not an unheard of thing in the industry. Some hidden expenses that maybe the nail technician doesn't think about is what is included in that 60% that the owner is picking up. Are they picking up product? They're picking up insurance? They're picking up liability insurance? And would you be protected under the umbrella of the liability insurance of the salon? the toilet paper, the paper towels, the beverages, the advertising, the marketing, the credit card processing, the telephone line into the salon, the website, all of these things are hard physical expenses that the owner picks up. And 60% sounds like a lot. Oh, she's getting, rich off the fat of, off my back. Not so much. It's a very small, narrow profit margin after you take care of all those overhead.
That's great. This next one is a kind of a two-part question. A new client came into a salon the other day, and when we took off her polish, we noticed she had a huge infection in her big toe. How do you guys handle that? How do you handle it?
Well, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, obviously, I think really more importantly, so that you don't set yourself up for a loss, is to make sure that you're clear in your support material and marketing as to what it is that you work on and what you don't work on. Because if you book a client who you have clearly made it, you've made it clear on everything that you don't work on infected nails, or you don't work on, nails that don't look healthy, you'll still get paid for your service. I think that's really an important thing to say, but you very kindly say, because we don't diagnose and treat, we recognize and refer, right? So what we say to them is, something does not look right here, and I'm very concerned, and while my sanitation protocol is really tops, I feel it's important that you have an appointment with a doctor before I can actually service you. Well, she says, what about I'm going on vacation. I have to have my nails done, or I'm just going to go somewhere else. Don't y'all hate that? I'm just going to go somewhere else and get the service because you won't provide it for me. Guess what? That's not your demographic. And I know that's another topic entirely, but you definitely want to be able to refer them. Easiest thing in my mind is, hey, what's up? Do you have a dermatologist? Do you have an MD? Get the information, call up that office while she's still there. Write on a piece of paper that says, I'm concerned about this client who has blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to take care of them until you see them. Please let me know when she's healthy to return for services. That right there will gain you a little bit of trust with the doctor who has no clue who you are. And also, it builds value in your service that you're offering. And, the bottom line to me is that stand by what you believe in, okay? Don't compromise. Don't, shorten it at all. I don't know. Anybody else want to have anything to say about that?
Well, one thing that I think would help is, you all need to know this is going to happen to you. It happens to every one of us. There's no nail tech that can say, no one ever comes to my salon without an infection. It doesn't happen. So be prepared. And I feel if you need to write a script, because one method of learning is to write things, because your hand does it and your brain records it. So write out a script of the things that you would like to say to that person so that you're prepared. You're not taken aback. And one of the things that I always say, and it's evolved over time, is, well, I'm sorry, but my licensure does not allow me to provide the service for you. If there is an eye present and they look at you like, what does that mean? I go, well, if there's an infection or an injury or inflammation, I really am not able to provide a service for you here today. However, I do have an idea for you. And then I would do exactly what AthenA said. Do you have a dermatologist? Do you have a podiatrist that you've been working with? I have an excellent person. Let's call their office right now. I dial and I hand the phone.
That's right, me too.
Right to them and see if, and as soon as you get an all clear, I'd be glad to take good care of you. In fact, after you get your all clear, your first pedicure is my treat. Is that client going to be angry and go away, or will they come back?
Now, the second part of the question is, you've
No,
already
that's
booked out
exactly
an
what I was
hour
gonna
of your
say.
time.
You want to say something?
No, that was exactly what I was gonna go on, is the best thing to do is make sure that I have a dermatologist who is a client of mine, and he is my dermatologist, and I've talked to him about, okay, if I see this and this, obviously I'm not a doctor like you just pointed, is there a way that maybe we could work together and you could help me out with my clients that need to be seen, and he puts them on a top priority if they mention that they came from my salon, and then that way they get great treatment, and then he can say to me, okay, I saw so and so, they're absolutely fine, or no, I didn't see so and so, and this is why you should treat them. So then it gives you a personal protection with somebody that you feel comfortable with, and then your client gets to see a really great physician also.
That's a great answer. That's Nikki from Michigan, actually. Jumping in. Now, the next part of the question is, you've already booked out an hour for the customer. How do you handle that? You're losing money. Do you charge the customer? They've got an infection. What do you do? What's appropriate? Who wants to tackle that one first?
I always have something
Yeah,
to say,
well,
but go ahead.
Brandy?
We just actually implemented a 24-hour cancellation policy, and there is no excuse. So unfortunately, if they come in and they've taken up my time, whether I can treat them or I can't treat them, they're going to be charged for that appointment, and they should have known that ahead of time. Most people know if they have, an infection or they have something that's going on that isn't quite right. I mean, they can see that, they know that, and they can make a phone call the day before to check on that.
Yeah, but you have to market it that so that they can expect that, because they are being taken by other people.
Absolutely.
Okay. I have to disagree that is a percentage of people who have absolutely no clue that they have anything wrong with them. I've even had clients come in my chair who have peeling toes that look like, it's just ridiculous, and they say this has been this way my whole life. This is all I know, or my nail is thick. I just thought it was because I bumped it or whatever. So here's the thing: when a client walks in your office, if you haven't done due diligence to make sure that they understand what your policies are on we don't use that word, on servicing clients with certain, recognized situations or conditions, you can't just, in my opinion, say, I'm sorry you have a fungus, because you could do that to 20 people a day. Of course, you'd be out of business in no time. But when clients call in, I'm 85% doctor referred, 85. When they call in, I say to them, do you know, or have you ever been diagnosed with a toenail fungus? Well, no. Well, you know what? I'd love for you to take a picture, because what you've told me in your little note to what you've booked on my books for an RX pedicure suggests you have a condition of some kind. And then what happens is they send me a picture, and I'm able to say, no, I'm sorry. I can't take your business. You need to see a doctor. If I do my due diligence and I've talked to them on the phone and they say no, and their toenail appears to be whatever, and they come in and still have a problem, now I have my guns are loaded, and I can say I've done everything that I can to try to prevent you from coming in and spending your money unnecessarily. I think communication and support material is very important for this question.
Anybody else would like to touch on that? All right. Now, on our panel, I know that we've got a huge number of social media queens, right? Social media is becoming huge for most people's businesses. It's how clients find you. But what about when a client might say something not so friendly? How do you guys handle it? If you get a bad review on Yelp, that's kind of there forever. So what do you do?
Or Angie's List.
Or Angie's List, or Facebook. Everybody sees Facebook. Their neighbors see Facebook. Holly Schippers is waving at me. So Holly, how would you like to deal with bad reviews?
The easiest way to deal with social media negativity is to sleep on it. Keep in mind that if you react in the moment, when it's hurting your feelings or when you're mad because the situation is not accurate, which is most commonly the case, if you sleep on it and respond the next day as a businesswoman instead of a hurt feeling nail professional, you'll find that you address the issue. And so when someone reads that comment from that person and then they see your answer, which is more in balance with reality, they take that into account. It's kind of like we all know someone, and you know that someone could not tell the truth if it bit them on the nose. They always exaggerate. Everyone always has done them wrong. The government hates them. Their dog hates them. Boo-hoo, wah-wah. These are the people that like to complain because they want to get a response. They want to get a reaction. They want some attention so they can complain about the attention. People know people like that exist because we all know someone like that. So if you reply in any way that is not positive and professional,
Right.
you look defensive.
Right.
And what do we automatically assume about someone that's defensive?
Did something wrong.
They clearly did something wrong because now they're really aggravated and defensive. So sleep on it, think about it, and make sure the reply is professional. Maybe have a fellow professional, they don't even have to be in the industry. A friend, a fellow professional, read over your reply before you post it. I know my best friend and I do that a lot. I've done that with Lucian, send him a message back, can I post this on social media or is it a little bit, too grouchy? And he'll be like, no, you can't post that, that's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe have someone that you trust that can tell you the truth and give you a better idea. Well, if you tweak it like this a little bit, it sounds more like you're giving them information and less like you're defending something that you didn't do in the first place. So social media is forever. Once you post that answer, if it is negative or unprofessional, it will come back to bite you.
Sure.
So make sure that you sleep on it so that your answer can always be on par. So.
And I think I'm sorry to just jump in here, but I think another thing to look for other options for reviewing or for responses is to look at a hotel you like or a business you like. Every business out there probably has a bad review or two. And if you trust this business, look at Yelp. It's a great one. When I'm reviewing hotels, I look at the bad reviews, and of course I read them. But it's always interesting to me to see when the managers respond to them and exactly how they respond. I think that says a lot more about the business than anything else.
Right, yes, absolutely.
Another one I actually want to talk about or talk to is Alex Fox, because I think it may be interesting to hear how she would respond to criticism, as far as, not that she's ever received any criticism from the magazine, because it isn't if you've ever read Scratch, but it might be interesting to see. I know you've got a lot of posts on social media. You might have even posted an image that may be a little bit too risque.
Actually, Brandy, thank you for that, but I have received my fair bit of criticism over the years. In fact, you've just reminded me of something that happened on my second issue of Scratch. So it would have been June 2003. I put a half-naked nail tech with lots of hands on my second cover, which was incredibly risky. At the time, I thought it was really avant-garde and quite interesting and clever and hadn't been done. And I'm all about, the team at Scratch is all about originality and wow factors and arresting attention and being interesting. And in this case, it was actually a nail tech, so that excited me that I put him on the cover. It was actually Leighton Denny. I'm not entirely sure of people across America. I'm sure you're aware of him. So we put him on the cover with lots of hands all over him. It's very, very lovely. I received huge amounts of criticism for that cover. Everything from this magazine has come through my front door, half naked. I've got a 5-year-old boy who's just seen it. Who do you think you are? What kind of magazine are you trying to send here? All sorts of criticism. Back in those days, because it was the launch of a business, the launch of Scratch magazine, and it was important to me that it was successful and it was received well. It was a huge blow. And back 12 years ago, I didn't necessarily respond the way I would now, which was I sat down and cried a lot. I cried all night, in fact, and thought, what have I done? I've just gone into something with heartfelt passion and belief in my industry and in the product and in everything that I do, and I've just blown it. Fortunately, I do remember very clearly that, I'm sure you've heard of this gentleman, Samuel Sweet, of CND UK, who's a fellow American. I phoned him because he's a good friend and told him what I'd done and how it was being received by people. I received more than one complaint about that. I phoned Leighton Denny and I phoned my business partner Scott, and I was a dribbling mess. And they all told me to pull my socks up, shut up, think about, go to bed. As Holly said, I couldn't agree more with what Holly suggested here. I went to bed, woke up the next day, I pulled my socks up, and thought, well, how many of these magazines have gone out into the world? Okay, so 5 people really hate what I've done, but actually 14,000 people like what I have done. Oh my goodness, let's look at the groove. The groovy side of this. and not get drawn into the drama and drawn into the negativity. Put my head up high. Recognize that maybe I didn't make the wisest decision that day. So I didn't look at it and say, just because I thought it was groovy, maybe it really wasn't. So I addressed what I'd done, had a look inside myself and said, okay, maybe I took that a step too far. Maybe it wasn't wise, clever, or interesting, but it had a groovy element and a lot of people liked it. But it made me think very early on in my business, what am I doing? Who am I talking to? Am I talking to them correctly? Am I sometimes putting a little bit too much Alex in there? Because it is a business. I want my business to reflect me, but not everything about me. Because I'm talking to people right across the board, because all our clients are different. We can't expect everybody to be like us. We have to remember this importantly, that everybody's different and wants to be talked to differently. So in my world, I try, the team tries, to talk to the nail industry, remembering that each and every one of you are different. Each and every one of you have different ideals, different aspects of what we share as nails, but even then we share that differently because we all like different styles of nails and we all project our nails differently. So it made me stand up, address what I'd done, definitely own what I'd done, and have a little word with myself that maybe sometimes I might take a step too far and I need reining in. And it was a good lesson early on. But I let it hurt me. I let it hurt me for a little while, then I stepped up and said, no more hurt, this is ridiculous, we've all made mistakes, today I made one. And I did fully apologise to the people who had complained and said that it was never my intention to do that. It certainly wasn't intentional, accidental, and I was very sorry.
That's a great answer. Jess?
I just have a little comment, and I think it's good to remember that you can't please 100% of people 100% of the time. And there's always going to be somebody who maybe had a bad day and they decided, I'm going to take it out on my nail tech because that's easy. And so I like Holly's idea definitely of waiting 24 hours and responding in a professional manner is super important. And I think when, on social media, when, say a client and they complain about something with their nails, and I think offering them a way to fix the problem
Make it
is, make it right. Like, if you have a problem with something, let me know. I don't know if I don't know. And if you let me know right away, I will be more than happy to fix whatever it is that you wanted. I had a customer once, and she came in and she booked a gel manicure appointment, a 30-day manicure, which is what I primarily do. And I literally was putting the oil on at the end of the service, and she says, "You're not going to make them longer?" I said, "You did not book an extension appointment, and this is the first I've heard that you wanted extensions." And she says, "Well, I want what my friend has." And I said, "This is what she has. Her nails have grown out longer, and it's her natural nail." And she says, "Well, I want them longer." I have clients back to back. There's no way I could have just started over and removed everything I just did and did it. So she was angry and upset and canceled future appointments, and I said, "That's fine." I said, I need clients that can communicate with me as well. This is what I do for a living, and if you can't communicate with me, that's cool, and I didn't go into any of that with her, but you have to remember that this is also your livelihood, and you don't want to feel every time you see that person that you're gonna not be aware of what it is that they want. So the 100% thing is always something I try to just remember, and you just have to let it go. If you can't please that person, someone else maybe can read minds better than I can. So yeah.
Now this next question is sort of same thing, different. I've always said that the nail industry has some of the kindest hearts in the industry. I really do believe we are an amazing group of women and gentlemen. I think that we are a very close-knit community, and sometimes sharp claws come out. We all have very sharp nails here. Just can't have sharp nails. What happens when it's another nail tech scratching you on Facebook or social media? Holly?
Same thing. Sleep on it. Again, we all know there's that type of person. They get that reputation, people get to know them, And the more available you make yourself on social media, the more open you are to criticism. The more successful you are with your salon, the more you open yourself to criticism. I've been thrown on the bus. I've been stabbed in the back so many times. I should be like Swiss cheese. And it really comes down to how you respond.
Because you're Teflon, baby.
Exactly. Sleep on it. You will always regret it if you do not wait until you can answer without emotion. Because a professional answer is not about feelings, it's about reality.
That's right.
Fact. Make sure you're sleeping on it. Make sure you do not address what they're talking about in a negative manner. And if it's inaccurate, there are ways to correct it without being defensive. If someone comes in and they're like, oh, I was just so distracted in class today because that educator is mega unattractive. She didn't even have lipstick on, for God's sake. I've had that. And it's like, okay. My response is, just bounce off me, sticks on you. That's what you would like to put. And are you so shallow that you really got no education out of the class because I wore neutral lipstick? Seriously? And so you have to address that in a manner that you're not so much acknowledging that person because clearly it's not worth it, but that you're acknowledging the fact that other people will see what they said and take stock in your reply. So if I reply back, thank you so much for that fashion consultation. I really appreciate your time and letting me know that. And I will make further effort to vary the shades of lipstick I wear in the future.
Brilliant.
It doesn't mean I'm going to wear a darker color. It just means I'm going to have a second shade of neutral.
50 Shades of Neutral.
Right, there you go.
So then when someone else is reading their reply, they see, wow, that chick is a shallow hag. Because they're looking at the reply going, wow, she really took that instead. She really took that. I try to always take things like that as criticism, critique. They mean it mean. It's absolutely meant to be mean. It's meant to be a criticism. So I think of it as a criticism, critique. And there may be an element of truth in that. Maybe I wore the wrong shade of neutral and it didn't look good. I'm going to go with a little bolder shade of neutral. So make sure that you always look at it as a criticism, critique, and remember it's not personal. This is business, it's not personal.
It's not even about you, it's about them anyway.
Exactly. So sleep on it, keep it professional, think of it as a critique.
I might add one more thing.
I want to add something.
Ask your buds to check you.
Yes.
How many times I've said, can I say this? And send it off to somebody and let them double check you.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
And on that same note, I think it's really, really important that you reread it maybe the next morning.
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes you might miss a word. Like this morning on Facebook, I had a little lapse, and they said, "Where are you?" Or where we were thinking about where we are, and I said, I read it as we were just thinking of the same things. I posted a picture of the Elliott Rockets and Seas cruise being right next to Cuba, and I said, well, I like cigars too. We all like Cubans. And it's important to reread it in the morning. Especially if you haven't had your coffee yet.
If you were out with Brandy,
I was out with
definitely
Brandy.
need to reread it.
I need to reread it in the morning because, word slips sometimes.
Right, a comma can make all the difference too.
Right.
When you're writing. But one of the things there are those energy suckers. There are those people out there who do nothing but complain on our social sites, and we all know some of them. And my thing is that I want to stay as far away from those people as I can. I mean, really try not to get myself involved. I don't post negative things. I'm not a ranter or raver. I save that for something completely different because it's all about business for me. But what I got to tell you is that, action speaks so much louder than I'd say words, it's kind of a little different in this situation on Facebook, but if you have somebody who literally needs to be medicated and it's obvious, and you know, they are just, you know, 1 minute they're up and the next minute they're down, I really feel that those are people that you cannot really reason with. Those are not people that you can even try to have a conversation with and be intellectual about.
You're not gonna change the.
You're not going to change their minds. Those are the people that you should just stay away from. And one of the things I have to tell you is that I like to remain professional on Facebook on public, and I remain professional privately, because you never know who is screenshotting what you have to say. So your circle should be really small on who you trust and who you talk to, because once you write it, you cannot retract it. So just remember, whatever it is that you want to blow off and you want to say, be very careful in your wording, so that if anybody does screenshot it and post it, it cannot be misconstrued. And so that's all I have to say about that.
Anybody else would like to touch on that? Okay. Our next question is, we've already touched on a little bit about cancellation policies, but what if it's your longtime customer? What if it's a favor customer, and they start taking you for granted, maybe because you know you're good friends, you enjoy your hour or two together, but they start canceling at the last minute? Do you have a better answer for that?
I've been doing online booking now for over 5 years. My clients book their own appointments for the most part, and I don't have to do any of that. My booking software requires them, you can choose to require them to put in a credit card. They hate it. The clients who've been with me for 10 years hate it, but they do it because it's what they have to do to get in. I can always adjust people if they have to go out of town or they have a meeting or anything like that. It's totally, you know, flexible on my end. But every single one of them knows that they have to put their credit card and information in. This happened to me where I had a longtime client who had a hair appointment or forgot or whatever. And, you know, I said, okay, sorry, you know, I did get my 24 hours notice, which I think I had 18 hours for a while. So they didn't even have to, wasn't even 24 hours. But, you know, I can't do it last minute. If they even give me 3 hours notice, sometimes I can put it up on Facebook real quick, and if I can fill it, I don't charge them for it. But if I'm texting you 15 minutes after your appointment time and you're not there, I'm not going to sit there and not get paid. So I did lose a client for a while, and it took about 2 years, and she came back, and she forgot why she left. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, and I missed her for sure because, yeah, she's a good friend. I had gone on a cruise with her, for heaven's sake. So, but you have to stand by your gun, because you let it slide too much, and it's going to be, oh, well, she let me slide once, and then it gets around that you're letting someone cancel last minute, and it goes. But it's business. It's not personal, and you know you don't expect them to go to work and not get paid, and you have to kind of remind them that I'm here at work, and you know, I booked you in, and if you have a busy clientele, they're gonna know. And I've had sometimes where people text me and say, oh my gosh, I, you know, had this meeting come up and I can't make it, try to fill it, but I totally understand if you have to charge me. Because that's how I've made it obvious, where I posted on Facebook, hey, I have a 3 o'clock appointment, someone's trying to fill up. And then they know that I'm not trying to be unfair, you know, and it's business. So I think you just have to remind them that you don't go to work for fun. It's not a hobby. So,
Very, very good point.
I have a client that I've been doing for about 12 years who was with me before I started going prepay, and I've been prepay for 8 years, where I made them jump through hoops, go on my website, click the PayPal button, pay it, and do all of that. I didn't even do credit card capture. Now I do. But so she was with me long before that, and she is one of those people who never forgets birthdays, Christmas. I mean, she's always bringing me goodies and food, and she is by all of our standards our top 3 best clients. But she's also one of those people that will cancel on me at the last minute. She does enough for me, and I let it go for a while, and finally one day we had to talk, and I just had to come face to face and say, listen, I love you so much. You are on the top of my clientele list, but I've got to tell you, I just I just can't do this anymore. I love you so much. You're going to have to put your credit card on. I have a cancellation policy. I'm going to give you this last one, but after this, I have to do it. It has to be business because this is just the way it goes. And she said, I know, I'm sorry. She made a ton of excuses, but it really did work. And I think if you don't have that conversation with your people and you don't let them know, and you don't have your support material, because if you don't have anything on your website or your brochure that says this is how you run your business, you can't expect to just boom,
Out of the blue.
out of the blue, charge them for their money.
And if I could speak to that just real quick. You always want to hold on to your best clients. I think relaying the message is also key. I have a client who has done that to me a few times, and I did have to sit down, but being nice and just saying, I love you, I love when you come in, we have a great time, you always take good care of me, and I want to continue to do your nails. However, this is the third time you've given me less than 24 hours. You know I have a cancellation policy, so please, it's always from love. And
Right,
it's always
always,
because I want to
always.
continue. And that relaying the message is really the key, because if you say it wrong, you're really going to upset them.
That's
So
right.
Just be
Good
careful with
point.
that.
I'd actually like to talk about that a little bit. In our industry, we often have to deliver the bad news. Like, we take your polish off, fungus, maybe, we don't diagnose, okay, whatever. There's something not normal there. We have to deliver the bad news. You're not getting your pedicure today. Or you've canceled on me, bad news. You're gonna have to pay me today and you didn't get your nails done. So I feel that one of the things that we need to do is be prepared for those. So I mentioned earlier, have a script, but also think about the psychology of delivering bad news. And one of the things you need to do is square up with them, look them in the eye, and establish contact. Put your hand on the back of their hand and look at them and say, Alex, you're one of my favorite clients. I really appreciate you. However, I can't afford to keep you anymore. Or something that's a little humorous, whatever works for you. Everybody's script is different. But establish physical contact, square up, look them in the eye, and own yourself. Don't apologize. Whenever you get apologetic or if you waffle, it's almost like a dog smelling fear.
Yeah.
They're gonna bully you and push you right through it. So own your position, stand your ground, square up and look them in the eye and woman up.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, we talked about those that are no-shows. How about the ones that are chronically late? You try and run on time, you're having a great day, things are going well, and then you hear the tires screech 5 minutes after they're supposed to be there. I know.
15.
Time is fine. 15, 20, that kind of
5, so you have a threshold, that's a good thing to know.
Okay, look, I'm going to come from the perspective that you don't take a credit card. You don't have the same type of, policy that some of us up here do. And I say, here's how you control the situation. They come in 25 minutes late, whatever, in a hurry. They got to go to the bathroom. By the time they get their jacket off, whatever. You need to have them sit down and you need to take their money. Please write your check. Let me have your credit card. Since we're running behind, let's go ahead and pay for your service now. No problem. You take that money, and then when they sit down, you say, you know what? I hate it when I don't have all the time I need to take care of your nails. What's the most important part of this service to you? Because we only have 20 minutes left. If you do not do it this way, they're going to walk through the door and go, what do you mean you can't do the whole service? Well, then I'm not going to get my nails done. And then your butt is stuck there with this whole hour that you didn't get paid for. But if you're smart and get their money, you control the appointment after that.
Well, it is about controlling the appointment. You have to stand firm and own your stuff. Don't be defensive. Just own it.
Do you guys do that? Anybody
Yes,
else do that?
and also,
I give them an abbreviated service for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
As much cuticle work as they might get, or
whatever they can get, but also letting them know that you're also doing this for them, because if they had a scheduled appointment and you're running behind, right, that next person is going to be now late, and they plan their whole day around that appointment, so you're doing it also for them as well in the big picture of things, right? And I literally have a 5 minute. If you're past 5 minutes, I take a client every 45 minutes. I can't go into 15 minutes late because I can't do a nice and a good job with my client in
I
a
get
half
7
an hour.
minutes on an hour.
So
One quick thing. I think one of the most important things is that if you're going to do a policy like that too, whether you send out a mass email to let your clients know what you're doing, whether it's cancellation fees or the 15 minutes, and definitely sticking with that. But then also, I always tell my clients, if you have a question, or our receptionist at the salon, if you have a question about the policy, please feel free to call or talk to your stylist or your nail technician, and then we can go into depth and explain to them, you know, if you had to wait for me, because you know they get irritated if we're running behind, and then we're in deep trouble. And letting them know, you know, there's really no way that I can make up your service. You know, I can't have you leave wet and not blow dry your hair. There's really nothing I can do. So just to have the client know that you're doing it in the best interest of them always. And then maybe they'll be a little bit more understanding about that.
Good point. That's a very good point. Okay, we've talked about clients running late. How about when you do? You got stuck in line at McDonald's for 15 minutes, or your tire burst, or you're checking social media and
Happens
have
to all of
ADD
us.
and sort of walked away.
If you mess up, that's what you do, right?
I'm kind of a brutally honest kind of person, and so if I'm late, I am going to make it up to them. That is my responsibility as their nail professional to make them happy. And so if they did me the courtesy of showing up on time, I'm going to do the courtesy of making it up to them if I cannot. And that does happen with me. I live on gravel, and when it snows enough, we do not get our road cleared, and so I have to wait until I can get out. And so then I may be 15 minutes late because it didn't come by as early for the school bus or what have you. Or there's a school delay, and so my 9 o'clock, I may be showing up at 9:15. I have all of my clients' cell phone numbers, so I will text them so they're not sitting at the salon bored out of their minds. And then I will complimentary upgrade them to the next level of service. So if they're doing straight up shellac with accent nails, then I'm going into full art. You know, it's only going to be an extra 5-10 minutes, and I'm going to make that up to them, maybe not necessarily at that appointment, because clearly I'm already running behind. But at their next appointment, I'm going to have a note in their profile that I'm crediting it to them, and I'm going to let them know I'm crediting it to them, so they have the whole 2, 3, 4 weeks to think about what they want to do. And that also not only makes it up to them, it also sends them to my Pinterest, my Instagram, my Facebook, to get ideas for that full set of art that they're now getting an upgrade to. And they generally tend to not go back down once they've gone up.
Very good.
Turn it around, Holly.
Yeah, that is awesome. All right, we've got a few more questions. I want everybody in the room to start thinking of some things you'd like to ask the panel. I mean, look at these incredible women that I've got up here in front of me. I'm the luckiest guy in the room, kind of. So, so you should start. You should, well, if I had a couple more. You should start thinking of some questions for the panel. But this next little section is kind of about business building. And I'm going to direct this question towards Alex. I want to create postcards for my business, and I want to feature works, images of my nails. How many pictures should I put on there? What pictures do I choose? Or for my business cards as well. How do you choose images, and how many is too many for a postcard promotional item?
Okay, so I want to understand the question completely. So we're looking at marketing our business through business cards, Braden, and then we're looking at what do you mean by postcards? Could you help me with that?
Mailers.
Flyers.
Flyers. Oh, flyers or brochures. Okay, sorry, we've just got a bit of a language thing going down here. Okay, what? It's a really tricky one because again we talked earlier about understanding that maybe we wear our nails in a certain way and we like certain styles, but of course we want to attract. We might. I mean, it depends which kind of tech you are. We've got different issues here. We've got the niche tech who is going to look at her clientele and want to service in a certain way. But then you might have the full service salon that says it wants to go from nail art, some 3D work right through to the stunning regular original manicure. How do you deliver all of that without over saturating and just giving too much while still talking to all your clients? I still think potentially you just want to keep it simple. The thing we should all do when we're looking at these things is to step back and say, how do I want to be spoken to? So when I go and buy I'm not going to think of a great example now, but we're all buyers and we're all sellers. So how do we like to be sold to? I like to be sold to simply. I need to just have an idea of what's possible. I don't need to see everything you do. So sometimes when I go on people's text websites and the gallery just goes on and on and on and on and on and on, and it's thousands and thousands of pictures, that's actually too much for me because I get lost in lots of little pictures. I personally would rather be spoken to with big pictures, less of them, but showing stunning work. I want to see your quality, I don't want to see your quantity.
There you go.
I want to see the depth of your skill. So show me, if you can do 3D art, show me the best 3D art you can do. Show me a superb French. Show me a great gel polish. So give me an example of 5. You don't need to go any further than that. 5 beautiful examples of nails to show that you've got the skill, that you've got the finish and the results that people are looking for. So don't overdo it, don't clutter, don't make it too busy, don't try and deliver everything you can. If you were a restaurant, you wouldn't show every meal. So, same dealio. And I think on the business card front, I saw something really exciting recently, actually, and I want to do it myself. Was that for my business cards, I thought it was a nice idea just to have my favourite cover of Scratch on the back of mine. And then at one point when we had done 100 issues of Scratch, we did a picture of all 100, and that works at the moment on the back of my business card. But I will be going to my favourite cover on the back of mine in my next set. But I saw a nail tech, a really cool session tech called Zoe Pocock in England. She put a picture of herself on the back. So she reflected her personality by putting a funky picture of herself with her nails up. And what I liked about that was when I got back to my desk and threw the business card down, when I picked it up, I didn't have to read the name or anything. I looked and said, oh, it's Zoe. So straight away I knew who it was, and I thought that was a really cool way to do business cards, rather than putting a picture of a drill because you sell drills or what have you. Why don't you put yourself on there in a funky way that reflects who you are, so that the business card acts not only as just a name, but it's got a picture of you, which we all have. I mean, I guess you're all like me. I've got hundreds of business cards on my desk.
Me too.
I love the one that actually has a picture of Zoe on it. It works for me best. So I think to be simple, just keep it simple, show your skill, not your quantity, and really put some effort into photographing and presenting those nails in a way that's going to get you more business.
Very good. Fantastic.
And just a quick thing, if you're a business building, get on Yelp and put those 5 pictures on Yelp, because I think Yelp is probably the best way to get a good clientele. We all know the not so great clientele and the really good clientele. And the ones that are really looking for quality, I find going on a lot. So go on there and put those 5 pictures on there so that when people are looking for someone, they're going to see that little bit of work.
All right. My next question is, what is the most effective business building strategy? You're in a new area, you don't have clientele. How do you build your business?
Well, if I was new, and when I was originally once new, and building my business, I grabbed, depends on the clientele you're going for. So I would maybe, if you want a business clientele, grab someone that you know that works in an office and just do their nails for them. Do their nails. They're going to be so excited they got their nails done, and they're going to be showing all the other women in the area. Or if you want to get into a restaurant, do a server's nails. They see so many people. Do them for free. They'll be back, and they'll promote you as well. It's an easy way.
When I restarted after having my daughter, I was starting basically from scratch. I had about a dozen that wouldn't leave when I had her anyway, but I'm like, I'll hold her with one hand, you can do the other. You'd be surprised when people said that. But so when I restarted, I went around to a couple of different people that do the same demographic type of thing. Bankers are very good, people that work in banks, and jewelry stores, because their hands are on display a lot. Give them some business cards and have them write their name on the back, and I'll say, for the next 2 months, I'm going to do your nails for free. But every time I get, 2 or 3 of these back in from people that you've referred to me, you get another booking on the bank. So as long as they're pushing and promoting me, and it's helping build my business, then I'm helping keep her hands looking good. So I probably did that for about a year, and that helps bring them in because it gives them a benefit to talking about you instead of just go, oh, your nails look great, oh, thanks. Well, oh, let me give you this business card, you know, da 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 da. Because you know, that person books and says, oh yeah, I got this business card from so and so. So that is a really good way of getting it out there and getting people that are going to be seeing their nails often. So,
And some tax write-off is advertising.
yeah, right, exactly.
When I wanted to start doing a new service, and it was a long time ago, means I offered $5 off for every person they sent. And let me tell you, I had to stop it in a year. It just was very successful. So I moved that over into other areas of my business. $5 off for every client you refer to me. It's going to take 10 clients at $50 a service, you know, basically for you to get your free service, which is no big deal for me. That has been a very big tool in building because everybody likes to have a discount. And I mean, $5.
And I think the very best thing that you can do whenever you're deciding to build a clientele is to make a plan and figure out who is going to be your client.
That's absolutely right.
Are you going to work with a college group or young mothers or business professionals, the elderly, whatever it is? Think about how you reach them. Everyone's talking now about print media being dead as a dodo. Not for nothing, the elderly still get up and read the newspaper.
That's right.
So if you want to target the elderly, then you should target the local newspaper. They also still use the phone book. So, Yellow Page ads out with the, dinosaurs. Not so much if that's your target market. So first thing you do is make a plan. Second thing is figure out how to reach those people. The third thing you do is to actively market every single day. And you should actually, if you're not busy, you're starting out, you get appointment here, an appointment there, appointment here, appointment there. You've got 2 or 3 people in the whole week. Book them all on the same afternoon, back to back to back, so that they see the other one coming and going. And there's a perception that you are busier than you really are. Actually, on your books, block out marketing time and put it in your books and make an appointment. I have a marketing time between 3 and 5 on Thursday. I have a marketing time between 10 and 11 on Friday. And take your flyers, take your brochures, go out and knock on doors, go to the bank and make your deposits, pay your bills, but hand out cards on all of your errands. But having that overwhelming feeling of looking at your book and you've got nothing scheduled is hard on you. Also, it's really hard whenever people are nosy. They're like, oh, let me see her schedule. And they see that it's blocked out. She must be busy. And there's always something about the fake it till you make it kind of thing. It really is. If you want to be busy, be busy. That's just a crazy thing. It's the way it works. One last piece of advice, along the lines of like your market. I recently moved to Grapevine, Texas, and the salon suite where I rented was in the middle of a lot of commuter neighborhoods. There were people who all drove downtown Dallas to work. Very nice homes, 2 incomes. I wanted to figure out how to get into those, and there were a lot of them were high dollar apartment rentals and condos. So what I did was I put on my Dress for Success. I had my freshly printed 4-color brochures and good business cards, and I went and talked to the office managers of them and asked, do you have a welcome packet that you give your new renters? And they all did. Is there anything that I could do about getting my materials in your welcome packet? And it would turn out to be a wonderful client builder. Just go to the apartment complexes and condos around you and have them.
Chamber of Commerce too.
Yeah, Chamber of Commerce I never found to be successful, but it is a good idea. Some cities it's very successful. But anyway, that's my answer.
All right, we are going to take some questions from the audience listening, but I do want to pass it on. I know Jess has one quick thing to say about that.
If you are going to start a new clientele and you decide to do online booking, which is great because people can book 24/7, do not let your books look completely open.
I agree.
You don't want someone to go online and say, oh, I want to get an appointment this week, and they have 30 choices. You want to look somewhat busy. Give them, a couple options a day, maybe one in the morning, one in the evening, in case that's, your schedule thing. But don't look really busy. I've gone on, other professionals' books, and there's just tons and tons of openings, and I'm like, we gotta figure out what's up with her books and get her booked in more. And you don't want clientele to see that because they're gonna be like, oh, she must not be good, she's not busy enough. So do blocks of time, you know, couple appointments here, couple appointments there, but don't make it look totally open.
Right. And the one last person I want to pass this one to is Holly, because I think you work in sort of a different area. I mean, it's a smaller area. How do you build in a smaller area?
Yeah, good old Iowa. So to get to town, first of all, is 30 minutes. And then once I'm in town, I have to get people who are very small-minded to not only think that getting their nails done is worth their time, but to come to an outsider. I've lived there for 20 years now, however, I didn't grow up there, so I am an outsider. So then you have to figure out people that are already against you from the get-go to bring them in. And I found that when I came back after having my daughter, that it was easier to use social media. People in my area do not use social media as a general rule. So I knew that the people that did use social media were the more progressive thinkers. They're going to be more likely to be open to an outsider. They're going to be more likely open to education and the things that I'm willing to teach them. And then I also had to dance around my schedule. So they've got to come on board being my client knowing they're not even close to the top 5 of my priority list. They are my good time, spending money, that I'm just in the salon every other week for 2 days. And they get shuffled. They will have to sometimes go 4 weeks because I'm out of the country. So I had a lot of things working against me and found that social media was really the best business builder for me. I would have them like their nail shots on my salon page. And especially these days where Facebook is cracking more and more down on business pages, you have less and less visibility without purchasing it. Then when they click like, who sees that picture? Everyone they're friends with. If one of their friends likes it, who sees that picture? All of their friends. So if they brought their cell phone in and they show me that they clicked like on that picture, then I'm giving them a complimentary upgrade at that appointment. And I would have just little 15-minute buffers on every appointment for a long time so that I could all of a sudden have time to do fashion work.
That's brilliant.
It's the same thing with Twitter. If they're progressive enough to be on social media, that's who I want to bring in. And so I've got all their cell phone numbers. They all follow me on Twitter. So then when I do get that random, you know, my dog just got run over, I've got to run it to the vet, I'm not going to make it to my appointment, I can post on Twitter and or Facebook, cancellation, consolation. There's a cancellation this afternoon at 3 o'clock. If you can fill that spot, call me at da-da-da-da-da. And the first person to call gets a complimentary upgrade from regular toes to rockstar toes. That does several things for you. A, it gives the person the opportunity to have their spot filled so that you're not sitting there with downtime. B, maybe someone that's been thinking about going for the upgrade but hasn't been ready to pay for the upgrade will do it that way so they can check it out. And now they're addicted because who wants nails that don't get as many compliments as the last time? Also, it tends to bring back in people that have ventured off. We always run into scheduling conflicts. You know, their work is a little different or the daycare is a little different. And so we've had a scheduling conflict and they just stopped coming because they got out of the loop of having an appointment. They see that tweet or they see that message and they're like, oh, I haven't been into Holly for forever. I should take this spot. And then they get back in there like, oh, I forgot how much I loved this. I need to book my next appointment. So not only can you end up filling in your spot, it can also do several things for you in addition as far as the business goes. So look at your demographic. Look at the type of clientele that you want to pull in. Look at what you know people in your area will see as a shortcoming and figure out a way to make it an asset versus a distraction.
All right, we have 5 minutes left for a few last questions if anybody has any. the beautiful thing is that the Nail the Profits at Cities tour, you have the entire week with these educators.
Yeah.
So please stop them in the hallways, at lunch, ask them questions. That's what they're here for. Every single one of them is talented and professional. So please ask them questions. If you need to know where the pool deck is, it's up there. That's where Anybody with questions at all? All right, I guess the question is, what's for lunch? AthenA?
Well, where's lunch?
No, I don't have any questions, but thank you guys for being involved in our roundtable discussion. We've done about 5 now over the almost 5 years. We have been going live every Sunday night or Monday night for 90 minutes, and we're going to keep going. But these roundtable discussions, people find very interesting. We did our first with Holly, and they love them. So we appreciate you guys sticking around for that. Make an announcement.
I wanted to get a head count. Who is planning to go tubing in Jamaica? What is it, tubing?
We're zip
Jackson
lining?
and Jamaica.
Yeah, so
No,
2,
80.
3, 4,
Is it
5,
black?
6, 7, 8, 9. Are you guys going tubing?
Yes.
Yes. And 11.
There's one more week.
12. Okay. Plus my 2 is 14. Okay, Cozumel is our chartered boat. Who is going to Cozumel?
To tubing?
You guys have 2, right?
Yeah, Justin and I.
Oh, so, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's more than that.